Okay, so finding the amplitude. Well, it's in the form, right? Y equals A sine Bx. And so the amplitude is right there. It's going to be the absolute value. The absolute value of A is going to be the absolute value of -4. So it's going to be 4. That's the amplitude. Amplitude. Well, I don't want to write it that way. Amplitude is 4. Now, let's look at what this means for a graph. I don't think I can do too many examples of graphing for you. And so I'm going to show you how we do these graphs for trigonometric functions. It's a little bit different. So for sine and cosine, mark off 2 pi. Eyeball it, cut that in half. That'll be pi. Cut it in half. That's pi over 2. And then cut that in half, 3 pi over 2. Now, I don't always label all of them because they get in my way. But you're looking at the quadrantal angles there, okay? So that's what we're doing. The regular curve would go up to 1 and down to -1, right? So let me draw the regular curve for you. I'll do it in orange. So the regular curve, regular sine curve, and this is just for one period. Looks something like that. Remember, it does continue on unless they restrict it and they say, okay, we just want it from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so that is a regular sine curve. But now we're going to have this amplitude of -4. And so it's going to be going up 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just was eyeballing those, not too bad, I guess. Okay, but it's a -4, right? So it's going to reflect about the x-axis. So my point that used to be at pi over 2, 1 is actually going to be at -4. This point will still be here, 0, 0. I'll still have a point at pi 0. But then my 3 pi over 2, instead of being at -1, it's going to go up to +4. And then I'll have a point there at 2 pi 0. So my curve looks like this over one period, kind of something like that, okay? So we do get that reflection because it was a -4. So I'm just showing you the graph. One thing I want you to point out on the graph, notice that I've labeled this in terms of pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. Those are just real numbers. They're just in terms of pi, but they're still real numbers. We had another graph earlier where we had 3, 6, 8, and 12. They were not in terms of pi, but they're still real numbers, okay? So same thing up here on the y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are real numbers, -1, -2, -3, -4. Okay, so just if you had any questions on that. Okay, so it just asked us for the amplitude. It didn't ask us to graph it. We were just going the extra mile. And then, is the function stretched or compressed vertically? It is stretched. You can see it's stretched. Okay.